Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a business growth expert who help business owners grow and scale to create wealth and freedom. And today, I have an awesome guest. She's a life and business resiliency expert, author, motivational speaker, and host of the Stand Up and Stand Out podcast. She has been in the international business industry for over 20 years and is a 4 times published author. She's an avid traveler, visiting more than 14 countries and more than 30 states, and she's completed 7 marathons, 3 ultras, and dozens of triathlons across 3 continents, which is awesome. And she's been featured in USA Today, Podcast Magazine, and Authority Magazine. She's dedicated her life to assisting others to reduce their fear, to go after their dreams. And she's worked with several notable C-level executives in top Silicon Valley companies. She's received double promotions in 2 different Fortune 500 companies and the Golden Microphone Award. And her greatest passion is empowering young people to reach their fullest potential. Welcome, Nikki Green, and thank you for being on my show.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's exciting. So I can't wait to see what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sure it's going to be great for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
Yeah, most people actually throughout my career know me from my corporate time. So I've spent the last 20 years working in Silicon Valley at some of the top companies there, traveled all around the world, supporting a lot of the local offices, getting to know the culture, making sure that was integrated in the products that I was supporting. It was a really great journey, but just like many people during the pandemic, it was time for a change. It was time to do something new. So I call it semi-retirement. Some people say, oh, I went on my next career journey, but I was already just making my next plan. And so I left to start my second business, Green Chameleon Collective, and start helping and giving back to youth. I saw a lot of people coming out of university and they were just really smart, incredible people, but they struggled with a lot of the basics. So I was really excited to, start working more with them and help them find the right path for their career. So it's been a joy, and, still rocking 3 years later after the pandemic and helping lots of fun people, and now traveling internationally again soon.
Beautiful. Awesome. What a lovely story there, and awesome to hear, different businesses being created and helping more people in different ways from there. So yeah, you've worked with several notable C-level executives, right, in top Silicon Valley companies, which is awesome right there. So I'd love to hear initially, what were some of your biggest takeaways from working there?
It's really amazing what happens when those people are together in a room, and the way that they can collaborate, the way they can talk to each other, and just sharing a wealth of experience. One of the things I learned early on in my career is that no one was too far apart. So there was this game in the 90s, like 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. And I feel Silicon Valley is a little bit like that, no matter where you're at in the world. And so I saw people, that had been in Silicon Valley for a long time, from kind of some of those early startups of Microsoft and Apple and things like that, coming back together again in lots of different companies. So what it taught me is the importance of your network, the importance of continuing to stay connected with those people you like working with, and continuing to learn and grow throughout that process. And so there's people that I've known that full 20 years and I still use as mentors, and we still connect and collaborate, which is fantastic every time I go back to Silicon Valley, or really anywhere else in the world where I've been, hanging out in Sydney, Singapore, you name it.
Yeah, I love it. I completely agree with that. Your network is your net worth there, and those connections on building that over time, because you never know where it's going to lead you with opportunities and other things there. So love all of those things there. And one amazing thing that you do as well is you got marathons and ultras and triathlons, which is amazing. I still haven't completed one of those yet. I've done a 50-kilometer walk once for charity, and that was challenging because it's slower. It took like 12 hours with a few of us, but these things are definitely big, big exertion. So firstly, what got you into these, and how have they helped to up level you?
Yeah, so I have a pretty big family. I grew up with 6 parents, and so I got a lot of different experiences growing up. One side of the family were performers, musicians, stage, and also teachers, and the other side were athletes. And so I got this kind of interesting mix of always wanting to perform, whether it was on a stage or on an athletic field. So did gymnastics, dance, all those things when I was younger. Then I started playing volleyball through high school and into college. I coached volleyball for a while. But that took its toll on my body. And so, I had to take a little break from that for a while. And when I started working in Silicon Valley, a lot of people would get up early and they would go run around the trails. Beautiful California weather, right? Might as well get out before you sit in front of your laptop and look like a dinosaur. So I just started running, just for a little bit of stress relief and some exercise and fresh air. But gradually, I saw these things in their cubicle, these bibs with numbers, and I was like, what is that? Oh, I did a 5K, I did a 10K. So then it starts this whole like obsessive thing of like, you need to know all the things that everybody else is doing. And at first it was just camaraderie. It was just being able to hang out with folks, learn something about them besides work stuff, and, relax and have some stress-free time during the day. And gradually that evolved. And my first business I opened was a triathlon coaching business. And so I had a lot of athletes, beginner athletes, teaching them how to get started in the sport. So it went from, sort of just tipping my toes in the water myself to, becoming a coach and getting other people involved.
Yeah, love that. That's really awesome. And yeah, I love the sporting element as well. I played a lot of soccer and tennis, especially growing up. And I think it's nice to be around people in that element and and yeah, just that stress relief and enjoying yourself around those times. So that's really powerful. And I love that you've gone to the next level as well. And you've coached them. Go, well, I'm good at this. Well, now I can help others, right? To do the same. And that's anything in life, business, anywhere there where we can pass it on. So really love those elements there. And let's get into a little bit more of the crux about what you do now. And there's the term creative adaptability, which I know that you love. So tell us, what does it mean and why is it important?
Yeah, creative adaptability is something I came across in a couple of different ways. Originally, creative adaptability was actually a term that was used in the theater. It was sort of adapting something like a book to, say, a screenplay or a theater production. So it was taking sort of one medium and making it something else. But psychologists started converting this idea into something we could all use every day. And I saw it all the time in Silicon Valley. And there's 3 pillars within creative adaptability. It's your cognitive creativity, easy for me to say, cognitive creativity, your emotional creativity, and your behavioral creativity. So a lot of times in any one of these 3 areas, I usually make it with a triangle, you get on autopilot. You keep doing the same things. You think the same thoughts, you feel the same way, you do the same behaviors. And when we go to try to solve a problem, we stay in that same autopilot. We keep doing the same behavior, feeling the same emotion, thinking the same thoughts. And so creative adaptability is a way that you actually balance and try to use one of the other 3 things to solve your problem, to change your behavior, to emotionally connect to a goal you want to achieve. And I really love this because let's take an example that I saw in Silicon Valley. One of the best engineers I met was a musician. What does a musician have to do with being an engineer? Music is math. And so there was such a crossover with his ability to create programs and think a little bit more creatively. He was able to do things way at a different level than a lot of the engineers in his same department. So I really like to encourage people to try this different method to change behaviors, whether it's going to the gym, trying to do triathlons, whatever the thing is, right? There's a way that you can cross over to change your behavior, emotionally attach, and change the way you think. So.
Yeah, I love it. So cool. I love these types of topics. And, interesting one is I've been told by many people that I'm like a chameleon, right? But I can go into different situations and do a lot of things. And I know you have a new book called The Chameleon Mindset as well. So, tell us more about this and how can people like improve this about themselves?
Yeah, and I always say chameleon's got a bad rap for a while because a lot of people kind of talked about a chameleon as if you're blending in because you don't know who you are. And when I read this scientific study about chameleons, I actually found nothing can be further from the truth. Chameleons are in their best state, their most calm Zen state, when they're that green color that blends into the surroundings. When they're flashing color, when they're changing, they're actually trying to tell the environment something. I'm too hot, I'm too cold, I need food, I like that other chameleon over there on the other branch. Whatever those things are, it's actually trying to tell its environment that it needs something different. And I think that's important for us as people as well. A lot of times we don't share our goals. We don't really tell people who we are, deep down, what we're really feeling. Are you having a good day? It's always, yes, of course we are, right? But I think it's important for us to be more genuine, especially coming out of the pandemic and starting to just really be more genuine leaders, more genuine workers, and more genuine with our friends and family. So that's kind of my take on chameleon mindset and how you can start kind of rethinking chameleons and how you interact in an environment that might be new to you.
Yeah, definitely. And let's go a little bit deeper on the way that, because you've obviously written a whole book on this, and I'm sure there's a lot of awesome stuff in there. Because there's that element, like you said, about what people may think about it. But what I see it in myself is that I'm able to read people quite well, and I'm able to adapt my way of communicating to their style, right? Because what I've learned is there's the old saying, which I think is incorrect, is treat people how you want to be treated. But it's actually treat people how they want to be treated, because everybody is different, right? And that's how we connect with them, on that level. There's a lot of tools and things that you can use, but in the end, it comes to me naturally now, like, because I've sort of, I guess, worked on it and got all these learnings and stuff like that. So do you touch on that type of stuff? I'd love to know your thoughts around this area, and about, maybe how we can connect better, with people.
Absolutely. One of the core parts of chameleon mindset is about the importance of community. And, so many of us are trying to be more clear with our identity, which is really difficult, right? We come from a certain past, a different culture, different languages, different life experiences over that time. And then we come together. And so you're trying to figure out, well, how do I keep learning from others? How do I keep enjoying new experiences while keeping my true self, together? And that's what chameleon mindset is about, is how do you find that balance between those things? Because you don't ever want to lose the things that are you and why you got to the place that you're at. But you also don't want to miss out on all the wonderful opportunities to learn from others. And especially all the international travel that I did, had I just gone out and been this big, loud American, enforcing my ideas on everyone, I wouldn't have made a lot of friends. I wouldn't have been able to accomplish the work that I did. But now, if I go arrive in Sydney, I've got a place to stay. I've got people to go grab a beer with, and we can go talk about anything: work, life, politics, money, all of it. And that's really what it's about. And so it's kind of rethinking that way that people are like kind of hiding behind themselves and start to put themselves out there a little bit more to connect with others and learn. So.
Yeah, I love that. That's really powerful. And one thing I'm going to add, because what I hear from a lot of people as well is they'd be like, oh, I don't like this particular thing about this person, right? But what you said there, which was really powerful, is that there's always something to learn from other people, right? And if you just do it your way, you're not going to open it up, because maybe they're really good at something, but there's this one little thing that you may not exactly agree with, or whatever it is like that, and that's stopping you from actually talking to this person and maybe learning, or in whatever environment, and actually connecting and actually looking past that, going, well, I don't have to like everybody exactly 100%, because no one's perfect, right? In the end, like, we're not perfect in there, so you're not going to have these perfect friends, these 50 people that are all perfect and the way that you want them, but those different opinions and the way they do things, because our mind can filter things, right? And if we go in closed, then we're not really going to take ourselves to that next level. And I'm sure for you as well, that's probably helped you to get you to where you want to be too.
Absolutely. And I think it was early on in my career, I had to take one of these management classes, and they had us do this exercise. And they said, write down the traits of the person that, your coworker that you can't handle, that you just detest. And what are those very specific attributes of that person that drive you crazy? So you go and you're like angry, writing, furiously, and then, okay, time's up. And then the next part of the exercise is like, okay, write down your like top parts of yourself, your attributes that you think are some of your strengths. Now, the funny part of the exercise is you usually end up saying the same thing. The things you don't like about others are actually the things that are your strengths as well. So you're actually very similar. And that's a lot of times why you're butting heads with them.
Yes, I love that. It's so true, right? I'm an NLP master practitioner, and perception is projection. Everything is a reflection, right? So what you see in others is actually in yourself, and that can be confronting for some people. Like, what do you mean? Like, I call this lady a bitch. Does that mean I'm a bitch or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, whatever the language is, it's funny, right? Like when you understand this and have the awareness that that's what it is, and it becomes really powerful. And then I think it's the lens of curiosity, right? It's like, being curious and go, okay, well, maybe there's something I need to work on, or maybe I'm like, maybe I can connect with them on that level, whatever it is, right? So
Exactly. Eye-opening.
it is very eye-opening. I love these conversations. So your greatest passion we're talking about is empowering young people, right, to reach their fullest potential, which I love. So tell us more about this. Why you love doing this?
Yeah, and this next generation, it's really different. They've already had some incredibly, transformative experiences thrust upon them, right, on a global scale. And so for a lot of them, that was a challenge. They lost, the ability to socialize at a young age when it's really formative. They lost, kind of these big milestone moments of graduating through the different school levels. And globally, this is really a thing where that never really would have happened, except for maybe some of the big world wars and things like that. And so they're in this timid state of just being super excited, like you are in that young age, but also completely terrified because the rug got pulled out from underneath them. And so I started seeing this during the pandemic, and even a little bit before, is this little bit of transformation of these guys really wanting to change the world and wanting to do big things, and no longer wanting to work for corporations and wanting to go back into small business again, and not having the courage to be able to do it. So I wanted to be able to start giving them that courage, because I've done a lot of crazy things that no one would have ever expected me to do in my career, in, my athletic endeavors. And so how did I do those things? I really sat down, and thought about that and told some crazy stories in my book to share with them. It didn't always go perfect. And that's what you have to be okay with. That's part of how you break down that fear. You figure out your risk tolerance and go after your dreams. So I just love it. It's a great generation to work with. I think they are really going to transform so many aspects of our life, and they're accompanied by the incredible changes in technology coming right along with it. And they are tech first. They basically phone in the hand as soon as they could figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So powerful, right? To be able to help the younger generation. And you're right. I was lucky that my parents took me to some computer things when I was about 6 years old, learning the original Windows. So I got a bit of a taste, not exactly like the kids of today with all the apps and stuff that they get. But, what's really interesting about what I'm noticing about the newer generation now, I'd love to hear it from your perspective, is I think there's a little bit of instant gratification that's coming in for them more so, whereas, the long-term gratification, right? The delayed gratification is really where it's at to be able to build something. And I think always wanting things now, and because of the economy where it's a bit of a, you can choose what you want to do in the way that it is the economy now, it's sort of, they're wanting everything now instead of the harder work that we used to go through growing up, right? Of like, really putting ourselves out there, overperforming so that people notice us. And then, that really gets us out of that comfort zone and really builds the grit and resilience, I think is the big one, where I'm seeing less of that now, where they're not getting a promotion in a year, they're unhappy and they want to move, but it's not like that. So what are you seeing from your side of things, and maybe how we can help them to change that mentality, to help them to grow better?
And that's exactly why, in my title, I could be like, CEO, author, all these other things, right? But I am a life and business resiliency expert. I have gone through a incredible amount of change. Having 6 parents, I went to 9 schools in 12 years. I moved every 2 years of my life, including through adulthood. I've changed jobs, all that. And I learned how to do those things properly. And it is an instant gratification because people have social media and things like that, and they're constantly in this comparison mode. But it's how do you build towards the long term? Kids are going to be changing jobs way more rapidly than we ever did before. But how do you do that when you're not working for someone, when you own a business, when you have clients expecting you to perform on a regular, consistent basis? That can be great. You can easily have some windfall come and you get a couple of clients, you make a bunch of money. Recession happens, technology changes. What do you do next? So a lot of what I work on isn't what's happening right now. It's what do you do next? What's your plan B? What's your plan C? What else can you see coming down the road so that you are ready for those changes as best you can? And you're not going to see it 100%, but can you see it 50%? Can you at least have some contingency so that you know when to pivot? So don't just jump because you're unhappy emotionally because I didn't get paid what I feel I'm worth. You jump purposely because you're going towards something. And so I really try to make that differentiation with them is like, it's okay to move, but what for? What are you actually doing? Because trust me, I've changed jobs a lot and I went to a lot of different companies and it was exactly the same thing. Just the grass was blue and the sky was green. Like literally, like everything was the same. I didn't get paid any better. I didn't get treated any better. It's all the job at the end of the day. It's how you interpret it and what you're getting out of it. So that's kind of the difference where I try to teach people that contingency plan and how to be resilient through those change events.
Yeah, I love that. Really powerful. And I always, have that mentality of like, many moves ahead, right? A lot of people don't think like that, generally in business or in life. And it's extremely powerful because, yeah, you could make a decision, but if you're not thinking of the ramifications, it could really, put you back in whatever that is. So I love that frame of thinking that you're doing there. And, we've touched on a little bit, but, we're all unique, right? And I think we don't always showcase it to everyone. I think Americans are better at this, like you were mentioning before, of putting yourself out there. I think, in certain countries, like in Australia, we have this thing called the tall poppy syndrome, where, it's sort of like, people want to hit you down if you're sort of doing too well, unfortunately. But I know it's a bit like that just generally of people putting themselves out there. So, I'd love to hear from your perspective of how important it is to put ourselves out there, with our uniqueness and maybe some ways to overcome that, to do more.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about relationships and the importance of them, both family, friends, work, all of it, because this is where people are missing the mark. I think a lot of times we've put our loyalties in the wrong places, and you have to figure out where your boundary ends and where theirs begins. And a lot of times we're taking in a lot of input from others, which doesn't match who we really want to be and what's right for us. And yes, my Australian friends have talked about the tall poppy syndrome with me many times. And it is important. It happens here in America a lot of times, sometimes in like lower income places, certain cultural groups, because it's a mindset of scarcity. It's if you have something, I don't have it. And it really keeps holding back the whole community. And I really hope it's something we continue to help each other change through this next generation. In the US alone, 50% will be Hispanic graduates of college for the first time. We will start to have more Hispanic graduates than any other culture here, which means it's a complete transformation. It's a thing that their parents have not done. Most of their family have not done. So how do we change that mindset? How do we say this is a great thing, not just for you, but for our entire community, and begin to support those around us and get folks out of that scarcity mindset? Even the older generation, we need to help transform with them and find ways to celebrate each other, because it's not just about them. It really is about other people also seeing those people do well, seeing your community, your culture, your religion, all of those things do well, and we all raise up together. So.
Yeah, I love that. So powerful. And I love the topic of mindset as well, right? Like, we could delve in so many different areas, and maybe let's touch a little bit more, because you touched on, not having the scarcity mindset. We want to have more of that abundant type mindset. And it is so important in business as well as in life. So mindset overall, on top of that, like what are your thoughts? Like, what's some tips or some things that we could do to improve our mindset to really get us to where we want to be?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is stillness. We're so busy and so caught up in being busy and being productive that every moment, everything has to be scheduled. And, America is definitely one of the worst ones at that. And I've seen it in lots of other cultures too. And it's really not the best thing for us. We are getting away from being outside in nature, from getting fresh air, from getting exercise, from just having downtime away from your phone, away from your laptop to think. It's scary. Most people don't even want to do it. If I said it, like turn off your phone or put it away, we're like, for how long? But when do I get it back? And that's really causing a problem because we're stop having our own thoughts. We're stop really being connected with what we're doing. And so in order for you to figure out even where your mindset is right now, you need that stillness first. And so that's really what I encourage people is like, before you go jumping down, let's goal set, let's go build a business, let's go do all these 1,000 things. Let's just sit still. Let's just hang out, spend someplace nice, hopefully outside, get some fresh air with a blank notebook and start writing.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. Really, really powerful. And yeah, the elements of all these areas, right? And I think, with resilience as well, it's about like we're going to be put under stress, right? Like, in so many different ways. Like it's a lot out there. And sometimes you don't know it's there. And sometimes it can be really prominent. And how we regulate that to really come back, I think it's a big one as well. I know for me, you sort of mentioned it there, is I like to go down to the park. I literally take my socks and shoes off on my flip-flops, or thongs as we call them in Australia, but that's a different thing in the US. But the things that easily slip off my feet, and walk literally barefoot on the grass, the ground, and just take some deep breaths, close my eyes, take a few, and I probably look a little bit stupid to people, but I don't care, because that doesn't matter what other people think. It matters how I'm feeling, and then that allows me to regulate that out of me. But there's a lot of other different methods to do that as well. So I'd love to hear your perspective on regulating stress and being able to get us back to to refocus.
Yeah. And I felt it, in my corporate job, I worked 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week, just absolutely insane, on planes, changing time zones, jet lagged, go, work all day, go have a nice dinner, with folks to socialize at night. And it took its toll. It really did. I thought I was doing okay. I thought I was doing all the things I was supposed to be doing. But then when I did have times of stillness, I was waking up at 4 a.m., panic attacks, just not able to sleep and just worried about the next day. And was I getting enough done? You have to really start paying attention to these markers and making sure that you're getting back in balance. So now with my own business, it's very easy. I could go back into those same autopilot, 70 hours a week, work, tons of stuff to do, make more money, all the things. I don't want to do that. And we shouldn't be doing that. It's not actually when we do our best work. So I've started doing a lot more time blocking, and I really encourage it with my clients to make sure that you're leaving time, not for just for the work, but eat lunch. Like, don't forget to take a walk in the afternoon, right? Like I literally block these things on the schedule every day, and, just a 30-minute break in the afternoon, 15 minutes to go take a walk. Make sure that you're switching context by actually leaving, especially when we're still stuck at home and you're like in the same four walls. It's really, really important that you get that movement, you unplug and then replug back in. It'll help your stress levels incredibly. It's done so much wonders for myself personally as I've continued to do it. So I really encourage people to, make sure that you're really setting your boundaries around when you're working, how much you're working, and that you're taking breaks periodically in between. So.
Yeah, I love that. So powerful. Completely agree with all of those things there. The environment, getting out of it and changing it is really key. Or even standing up and sitting down. The differences, right? That could be a little simple thing with a standing desk. It can even help if you're working from the same spot. So yeah, leadership's another big thing, right? And I know you enjoy leadership, and you've seen it and help leaders in big organizations, and they obviously need a lot of help with this resiliency and everything else as well. So let's talk more about the leadership element, right? Because I think everybody, the way they understand leadership and how they lead is a little bit different. So I'd love to know your take on leadership and how we can improve it.
Yeah, I mean, just like building a business, being a leader anywhere, it's about what are your values? What's your mission statement? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you here just for you, for your career, for your title, for your paycheck? Cool, that's one way to go. And many people go that way. Or are you here to make a difference? Are you here to really inspire? Are you here to, work towards a common goal? And when you have those things and you communicate them with your team, your peers, your managers, your employees, and have them buy into the same thing, it changes everything dramatically. I was always a, work hard, play hard kind of leader. I did expect a lot from them, but I also gave them their space. So, hey, you want to pick your kids up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and that makes you happy and gives you a good break? Cool. Go do that. Let's make sure we're giving ourselves those things that are matter. If you understand what the long-term goal is, I don't need to micromanage you. That's not a good way to spend my day. And it's not a good way for you to get, the leadership experience. I just saw so many like super senior leaders being incredibly critical and micromanaging and just doing some really not nice things in some of these conference rooms. And it was just never the way I wanted to lead, and not the way I want this next generation to lead either. We do so much better when we respect each other, we communicate openly, and you give each other the space to do the best work they can possibly do. And give feedback. Too many times people are actually afraid to give the right feedback that will help them get better because they don't want to hurt feelings. And then they're just talking behind their back at somebody else. So that doesn't work, kids. It doesn't work. But for me, it's been just, let's have fun. You should have fun every day you're here. It doesn't mean some days aren't going to be tough. It doesn't mean some days you're not going to have a conflict between trying to work and what's going on at home. It just means make sure you keep that in balance, keep that in focus, and communicate with those around you so we can support you and so that we're all doing the best work we can do each day.
Yeah, I love that. Completely agree. So powerful, that section on leadership there. And, coaching mentoring has been a big one, right? I know for me, my coaching mentors for my growth, and, yourself, I'm sure as well, obviously you doing your own coaching, in the sports side of things, as well as in life and business now. But also, yourself, I'm sure, because coaches, as well, need coaches to help, we all need to help improve depending on what area of life or business that we're focusing on. So I'd love to hear like how important coaching mentoring has been for you and what it's helped you to achieve.
It throughout my career, coaching has been important, whether it was in sports when I was younger. Some of those people believed in me in a way I never saw for myself. And they really pushed me. They pushed me hard, both, again, on the athletic field as well as in my corporate jobs. And when they believed in me, I began to believe in myself differently too, and see that what was possible. And I think that's such an important thing. There is another side of coaching, which is more about accountability, that, hey, I got this, but I need someone to make sure I'm continuing down the path. Those coaches I have too. I have them now, even though I know how to exercise and what to do, making sure I get to the gym twice a week, that I go meet up with my friends to go for a bike ride. That accountability is a different type of coaching. And you have to figure out where you're at with the thing you're trying to work on what type of coaching you need. But throughout my career, even now, I have coaches and mentors that continue to help me. They give me guidance. Sometimes it's just consultative. I just need to know like a specific answer to a question. And sometimes it's more long-term help because I'm going through something challenging. So one size does not fit all. That's really the important message and why there's so many coaches out there. So make sure you're clear on kind of the goals you're trying to achieve, and that coach can actually get you through the steps that will get you to that goal.
Yeah, I love that. I completely agree. They get us there a lot quicker, right? Why try and work it out and take 10 years when you can do it in 1 to 3 years maybe, or something like that, right? It's
exactly
no-brainer investing in ourselves and getting that help. I love that. And it's been a very, very powerful episode today, Nikki, with what you're sharing with everybody here. And I guess as we're wrapping up, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Oh, it's a roller coaster, but you can enjoy both the ride down and the ride back up throughout. It is a difficult thing to be an entrepreneur. It's very different from being an employee. You make your decisions every day though, and the control is yours. So make the right decisions, and every day you can make a new one to head in the right direction for the future that you desire.
Yeah, love that. Clearly agree. So powerful there. And yeah, we connected through our networks where I learned about your awesome journey from working at multiple very large tech companies, to now being a life and business resiliency expert. You're an amazing woman. I'm sure you continue to empower young people to reach their fullest potential and everybody else. Such a powerful mission and such a powerful story as well with everything you've overcome and be able to help others to do the same. And very grateful that we connected. I look forward to working with you. So how can people find you, get in contact with you?
Yeah, if anyone wants to connect, you can reach me at the nikkigreen360.com. There you can see any one of my books, the new book, Chameleon Mindset. You can check out my podcast, Stand Up and Stand Out. Follow me on social, watch me dance on TikTok, whatever the things are that make your day. You can follow me there at the nikkigreen360.com, and it's the one link with everything.
Awesome. Definitely check it out. Nikki there on that website with all those amazing things that she does. Yeah, she's awesome in those areas. So definitely check her out. And yeah, thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. And if you want to grow and scale your business, you can reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. And I completely agree with you. Or do I? The only way we know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.